professional body that has a broad footprint across the cultural and creative sector. And the primary topic of discussion this morning is going to be the new legislation introduced by the Department of Employment and Labour, or draft legislation at this stage, that focuses on redefining various people that work in the kind of entertainment industry as employees for certain conditions of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, and the basis of this is to eliminate abuse and exploitation. Now, I don't want to suggest everybody in the entertainment industry abuses and exploits staff, and in particular freelancers. You know, there are some very reputable production companies and promoters that actually, you know, treat their freelance staff really well. You know, what we're looking at now is a situation where we have new legislation that has been proposed by the Department of Employment and Labour as a direct result of that continued exploitation and abuse. It's not something that we addressed ourselves, and so government has stepped in and is imposing a solution upon us. There will be plenty of opportunities for questions. This is not about stand-up presentations. This is about an opportunity to engage, to interact, to chat, to discuss. If you want to argue, you're welcome to argue as well. You know, this is really a learning opportunity, so thank you very much for joining us for our breakfast. And Mr. Mkhilipi.
We've had discussion, and I think we've ratified certain conventions in terms of the International Labour Organization, Convention on Freedom of Association, the right to organize, and we've looked at international best practice in the sector, what's happening in the sector, what is the status of the workers in the sector. We look at that and compare with what's the situation in South Africa. South Africa got two problems. Is that the workers in the sector want protection in terms of labor law, but they still want to benefit in terms of tax incentive as independent business people. You can't have it both ways. We need to put that up front, that as employees, you tax differently. As independent contractors, business people, you tax differently. Now, you'll have that discussion with the tax person, the tax man, not with us. We don't deal with tax. We deal with this issue on employer-employee relationship. Now, in the last discussion that we had at network and online, the stakeholders made a clear preference of self-determination, social dialogue, that they want to set social dialogue on their own and set up their own condition. Nothing has happened since then. And because of that no movement on the issues around self-determination, as a department, then we started the process. We're doing two processes at the same time. The first process that we're doing today, as I'm speaking, at around about, after lunch, I think after lunch, around about 1, the bills amending the LRA, the BCA, employment equity, the national minimum wage will be published today for public comment. Now, what is crucial in those bills, even if you don't read anything else, you look at the definition of an employee. We're amending the definition of the employee so that workers working in this sector and the other sectors in gig economy are regarded as employee in terms of the Labour Relations Act, the BCA, national minimum wage, and other legislation. That's the bigger change that we are making. Because we realize and accept that because we are a constitutional democracy, legislation making take a little bit long in our country. It's unlike in America where the president can just decree any, doesn't matter, decree a law and it becomes a law. That's not how we work here. President does not have that authority. Only parliament can make a law. And in terms of the constitution, there's a long process, consultation, and all of these things that you need to go through to make a law. Therefore, in terms of the long term, we are amending the LRA and the BCA
Thank you for breakfast, Kevin. Thank you to SACIA, and thank you to the Audiovisual Cluster, Simon. Appreciate that you're here. The Department of Employment and Labor, so good to see you again. It's been years of a lot of hard work, and I think I'd like to just start on that point. Where did it all begin? We're already working with it. We've been working with it since 1997. We're in good hands. And in fact, the sectoral determination for children was drafted after extensive consultation with the industry. That's another thing that we shouldn't be afraid of, consultation. When government opens its doors, you take the step. Because it doesn't happen too often, let's just say. Nobody consulted the actor when they said, let's negotiate something for the industry. In fact, this is what I like to call the Victorian era trap. The Victorian era trap is where actors, for example, we don't have protection currently under any labor laws, which means we don't have the opportunity for collective bargaining, unlike what we have in creative sectors around the globe. In the global north, most of them are already unionized and they have the rights to collective bargaining. If you pick a country, chances are that they are unionized. Africa is also catching up to this very, very quickly.
Personally, I think it's great legislation. I would like to see it expanded to include tech crew, because at the moment it refers specifically to performers. But this is really what breakfast is all about. It's an opportunity to engage directly with the department, to learn more about the legislation, the logic behind its introduction, and actually just to talk with each other about what the practical implications of this legislation are.